Legion, episode 5. Holy shit, that was awesome. Right, okay. Where do I start with this episode? I'll tell you what, I'm going to start with the cons, actually. I'm going to start with the worst things about this episode. And the worst thing about this episode is one tiny little thing, and it's something that happens all the time in TV shows, and that's the use of music in unnecessary places. There's a bit where they're running to a car, the guys, the gang, the posse, and a pop music tune kicks in and it goes in super slow-mo. That's the only thing wrong with this entire episode. Because from the moment this episode starts, and the acting from Dan Stevens, you just know there's something wrong. You know what I mean? In fact, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to the last episode where... Go away, Mog. Let's go back to the other episode. And when David unleashed his power, he was touched by that evil goblin, that evil demon inside his mind. And from that moment, that was it. Complete and total control. The goblin's taken over. And it's manipulating, well, it's not even manipulating, it's just completely controlling everything that David does. And wow. And from the moment that David almost seduces Sid into saying, look, we can be together, all I've got to do is get inside your mind. There's that opening scene where you see the strawberries on the side and the insects are crawling over the strawberries. And you think, oh, he's been taken over, he's got no control anymore. But the funny thing is that kind of makes you think, is that who is David? Who is he? Is David... I don't know, who is he? Anyway, my conclusion to this is that David is that little boy. David is still a little boy. Now, if you think about everything that's happened so far up until this point, and all the times we've been inside David's mind, and you've got the goblin in there, and you've got the angry little boy in there, and then you've got these memories of when he was a little boy. Now, I think the angry little boy is a representation of David as a little boy, and the angry little boy is, with a big head, is almost like what's left of David's emotions from when he was a little boy. So that is like that's like the waste product of his life, of his psyche, and the goblin has turned him into that. You know what I mean? Obviously, when Sid in previous episodes went inside his mind and she saw him as this little tiny little boy, and she was talking to him and so on. That's all that's left of that personality. There's anything. David growing up is now the angry little boy, and he's just pissed off, and that's all. That's the only emotion that's left. And maybe that's the reason why he's got like a, papier-mâché head, to be honest with you, is that everything is just contained inside this papier-mâché head, and he's just got this knife and he's just trying to defend himself, and that's how the little boy defends himself against the goblin inside his mind. This is mind-blowing. I absolutely love this show. I really, really do. Let's talk about some of the great moments where we really do get tested in regards to the big reveal of the goblin at the end of the episode. For me, there's some great moments where Dr. Carey is investigating what's going on, and there's that great moment where he's looking back at when David was inside the MRI machine, the scanner, and as it's going up and down over David's face, the MRI scan, 1 minute he's a goblin, then he turns into the little boy, and then he turns into David, and I'm like, yeah, this is absolutely awesome. And I love those moments of reveal, even though we are, as the audience, know what's going on to a certain extent. And we've been given an opportunity to investigate and to view this transformation in David, is that it's great to see the characters in the show discover it as well. And the real good moments, for example, is you know when they first arrive at Division 3 and and we see the damage that David's done, and you can't help but just watch it and think, oh, wouldn't it be awesome just to watch him do all these things? And then they get to the CCTV footage of what he actually did, and the fact that he's dancing around and he's just clicking his fingers like this, and people are getting wiped out left, right, and centre. I'm like, oh, god damn it, this is awesome. This is just, it's like all the CGI in the world, you know, all the great special effects in the world just wouldn't deliver that kind of level of tension, because we are putting ourselves inside the characters when, you know, we're putting ourselves and we're thinking, God, look what this guy can do. You know, he really is that powerful. And that brings me to that moment where they're watching the CCTV footage, and on one of the screens it's like, you know, it's ultraviolet, so that, you know, it's like in darkness, and they see the goblin, they see the demon, you know what I mean, going around destroying, and I'm like, oh God, this is so mega. This is so fantastic, it's awesome. And there's almost moments where, you know, when Sid is, you know, she's had her time with David in this episode, and, you know, they've made love inside their minds together, and that moment where you really realise that she knows there's something wrong here. Was that David who I was making love to? Was that David who was so tender and so loving towards me? And that moment where she realised is it a moment of realisation? She's like questioning herself, what's going on? Who is this guy? Because, I mean, she's obviously madly in love with David. She loves this man, and she loves who he is deep down. And I love that little realisation. I love watching David through the eyes of Sydney. You know, it really is, because it's really kind of the only truth that David ever really gets from anyone is through Sydney, and we really see that at the end, in the end sequence, where they've entered the family home, and obviously Amy is essentially, is she hypnotised at this point, you know? And she's just sat there in front of the mirror, and David's just leaned up against the wall like this, completely oblivious to what's going on. And then Lenny turns up, and then obviously Lenny's is obviously the evil side, you know, that's the representation of a character, of which is the demon goblin. and you see David's like just can't cope with it, can he? He just can't cope. He's like, you know, he can't control himself because of being taken control by the demon, by the goblin. And there's that amazing moment where Sydney's like, let's go back to the White Room, and they beam to the White Room just as they're about to get shot, and you know, the goblin has truly manifested itself, and Sydney is now, well, you know, she's scared to death. And then there's that bizarre transition right at the end when they go back to, you know, Clockworks or whatever it's called, back to the mental institution where they're all there, and what the hell's going on now? Is that David reacting? Is that David putting everyone in this safe place, or should I say, is that David putting himself in a safe place, and they're just being brought on for the ride? Is this now going to move on to the next stage where David's psyche is just attempting to control, like a defense mechanism for everyone, so the goblin can't kill them all? I don't know. This is mental. It's absolutely awesome. Completely blew my mind. I mean, where to go from now? You know. What's interesting again, what I've mentioned before is Legion. You know, we are Legion. Now, is this going to be the point where David starts using everyone in order to control himself, and maybe that's what the institution represents to him, is a moment where he can get himself back in order. He's going to reorganize his mind in order for ultimately everyone to be safe. Yeah. And finally, what I'd like to talk about is the milky-eyed man. Who is he? What's going on? There's a hidden agenda there for the milky-eyed man. He's not just Division 3, is he? he is, I think, he's an X-Men. He's an X-Man, man. And he's watching David, and, you know, or who sent him? Where does he come from? You know, is he the only one who can stop him? And then finally, what I'm thinking after watching this episode, and I'm just going around this in my head, can you see the little clockworks going around? And I think that Oliver is going to have to come back to life, come out of the astral plane, and he's going to have to stop him. Because she talks about the fact, Melody talks about the fact that he was powerful like David, and I think he's the only one who's got the ability to stop him, to be brutally honest with you. Or should I say the only one who can get inside David's mind and really calm him down, or at least pose some kind of challenge. Maybe it'd be like Oliver and the Milky-Eyed Man fighting against David. But wow, what an amazing episode. Again, completely blew my mind. Honestly, I mean, this TV show just isn't doing any wrong by me at all. It really is. It challenges me emotionally. It challenges me intellectually. I'm questioning what the hell's going on, you know, and it's brilliant. I mean, I haven't enjoyed a TV show like this since Westworld. We literally are in the golden age of TV right now, and I can't wait to watch some more. I really, really can't. Anyway, guys, I know that was a bit incoherent, but you know, what more can you say about this TV show? I am David Heller. I am Legion. Anyway, guys, as always, thank you very much for watching. Always a pleasure, never a chore. Click subscribe if you want to see more. Peace out, and I'll see you next time.